Have you ever felt like the presence of someone in your life weighs on your soul, leaving you restless and drained? In life, we encounter individuals whose actions are subtle, yet deeply harmful. The Stoics teach us that while we cannot control the behavior of others, we can learn to recognize the signs of malicious intent to protect our peace and virtue. These people often hide behind a facade, but their actions, manipulation, deceit, or exploitation, leave clues if we pay attention. In this video, we'll explore 12 warning signs that reveal the true nature of such individuals. Understanding these behaviors isn't about judging others harshly, but about safeguarding your inner serenity and surrounding yourself with those who nurture rather than diminish your character. Recognizing these signs can empower you to make wise choices and maintain relationships grounded in mutual respect and integrity. If this resonates with you, consider joining our growing community by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. It's a small action that helps us reach more people seeking wisdom and clarity in their lives. Now, let's embark on this enlightening journey together and uncover the patterns that harmful individuals often follow, so you can step forward with strength and self-awareness. Let's begin. 1. Constant manipulation. Have you ever felt like someone was quietly steering your life, leading you exactly where they want, without you even noticing? This is the subtle and dangerous art of manipulation, the first warning sign of harmful individuals. Imagine playing a game of chess where your opponent changes the rules without telling you. That's manipulation, hidden influence designed to serve the manipulator's interests. As Dr. Harriet Breaker, author of Who's Pulling Your Strings explains, manipulation often disguises itself as care, guilt, or even love. But how can you recognize a manipulator in action? Watch for these common tactics. 1. Emotional guilt. If you truly cared, you'd do this for me. 2. Gaslighting, making you question your own reality. 3. Victimhood. They're always the victim, no matter the situation. Manipulators distort our opinions to serve their needs. As Epictetus wisely noted, it's not events that disturb us, but our thoughts about them. Recognizing manipulation is the first step toward reclaiming control. Take, for instance, a friend who always convinces you to abandon your priorities to help them with theirs. If this leaves you feeling uneasy or drained, your intuition might be warning you of a manipulative dynamic. How do you protect yourself? 1. Set clear boundaries. A firm no is a powerful shield. 2. Trust your intuition. If something feels off, listen to that inner voice. 3. Seek support. A trusted perspective can illuminate the truth. Psychologist George Simon reminds us, the best defense against manipulation is knowledge. By recognizing these behaviors, you're already one step closer to freedom. As Marcus Aurelius said, soon you will have forgotten everything, and soon everything will have forgotten you. So, don't obsess over manipulators. Observe, learn, and move forward with clarity. The art of never apologizing. Do you know someone who seems incapable of uttering the words, "I'm sorry," even when they're clearly in the wrong? This second warning sign, the art of never apologizing, is more common than you might think and often points to deeper issues. Imagine life as a vast game of Monopoly. We all make mistakes, landing on go to jail from time to time. But some players act as if they hold a permanent get-out-of-jail-free card. These are the masters of avoiding accountability. According to psychologist Robert Enright, a pioneer in the study of forgiveness, the inability to apologize stems from a fragile ego and a profound fear of vulnerability. These individuals build emotional walls, choosing to protect their pride at the expense of meaningful connections. So how can you spot them? 1. They always have an excuse. It's not my fault, the situation forced me. 2. They shift blame. If you hadn't done that, this wouldn't have happened. 3. They minimize the impact. It's not a big deal, you're overreacting. The Stoics remind us not to mirror the behavior of such people. As Marcus Aurelius advised, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. When faced with someone unwilling to apologize, resist the temptation to retaliate in kind. Consider this example. A colleague forgets an important deadline but refuses to admit fault, instead blaming the team. You can choose to remain calm, address the issue with clarity, and avoid descending into the same defensive behavior. If you struggle with apologizing yourself, remember this: acknowledging our mistakes is a sign of strength, not weakness. A simple "I'm sorry" can rebuild trust and create stronger relationships. After all, what's more important, being right or being at peace? Third, lack of empathy. Have you ever met someone who seemed as though they had a heart of stone? This third warning sign of harmful individuals, the lack of empathy, is one of the most isolating traits a person can have. It's as if an invisible wall separates them from the emotions and struggles of others. Imagine living in a world where no one could feel what you feel. Terrifying, isn't it? Yet, for those who lack empathy, this is their reality. As psychologist Daniel Goleman explains, empathy is the ability to emotionally tune in to others, forming the foundation of deep and meaningful human connections. Without it, relationships become cold, superficial, and transactional. So, how can you identify someone who lacks empathy? Look for these signs. 1. Indifference to others' suffering. They don't seem moved by the pain or struggles of those around them. 2. Inability to see other perspectives. They struggle to understand or even consider another person's point of view. 3. Insensitive remarks. They often make hurtful comments without realizing or caring about the impact. This issue isn't uncommon. A study from the University of Michigan found that empathy levels among college students have dropped by 40% in the last 3 decades, signaling a broader epidemic of stone hearts. But not all is lost. Empathy, like a muscle, can be strengthened. Research shows that practices such as active listening and imagining yourself in someone else's shoes can significantly enhance your capacity for compassion. When you encounter someone with little empathy, here's how to navigate it. 1. Don't take it personally. Their lack of empathy reflects more about them than about you. 2. Avoid unrealistic expectations. Change takes time, and not everyone will be willing to grow. 3. Lead by example. Sometimes your own kindness and understanding can inspire others. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul. So the next time someone's indifference gets under your skin, pause and consider, what might be happening in their life to make them this way? You may not excuse their behavior, but understanding it can free you from unnecessary frustration. 4. Constant creation of conflicts. Have you ever felt like you're caught in a never-ending storm where peace barely settles before the next conflict erupts? This fourth warning sign, constant creation of conflicts, reveals individuals who thrive on chaos. These drama directors seem to provoke disagreements as effortlessly as fireworks light up a quiet night. Sometimes their goal is amusement. Other times, it's a strategy to distract from their own flaws or insecurities. It's as if they possess a radar for harmony and feel an irresistible urge to shatter it. Psychologist John Gottman, known for his research on relationships, identifies this behavior as contempt, one of the most destructive forces in human interaction. Contempt isn't just arguing, it's a toxic habit that undermines trust and fosters hostility. Imagine living in a home where the walls constantly shake from the tremors of discord. That's the environment these individuals create. One where peace is a distant memory, replaced by tension and unease. As Ryan Holiday writes in The Obstacle is the Way, calm is contagious. Unfortunately, chaos is too, and these people spread it like a virus, infecting relationships and interactions. How do you deal with them? 1. Don't feed the drama. Conflict requires participation. Refuse to engage, and the fire often burns out. 2. Practice stoic indifference. As Marcus Aurelius teaches, choose not to be harmed, and you won't be. 3. Surround yourself with allies. Seek relationships that nurture peace and mutual respect. Remember, as Carl Jung said, what you resist persists. What you accept transforms. Acknowledge their chaotic tendencies, but don't let their inner turmoil disrupt your serenity. You hold the power to stay grounded amidst the storm. 5. Constant lying. Imagine building a house brick by brick. Each brick represents trust, a truth shared, a moment of honesty, a bond strengthened. But what if someone began replacing those bricks with balloons painted to look like bricks? Sooner or later, the entire structure would collapse. Lies are like those deceptive balloons. They may seem harmless or even useful at first, but over time, they erode the very foundation of any relationship. The Stoic philosopher Seneca emphasized that honesty is essential for strong, virtuous relationships. Without it, relationships become fragile and superficial, unable to withstand life's inevitable challenges. Picture Seneca at a family gathering where everyone lies about who ate the last piece of cake. He'd likely leave in philosophical protest, muttering about the absurdity of dishonesty. But constant lying is more than just a bad habit. It's a red flag. Lies come in many forms, from harmless white lies to elaborate fabrications worthy of a spy novel. Over time, habitual liars develop a personal language of deceit, leaving others struggling to decipher their ever-changing narratives. Why do they lie? Some do it to manipulate, others to hide harmful behaviors, and some simply because they've forgotten how to be honest. It's as if they've lost the instruction manual for truth and are improvising their way through life. So, how can you recognize a compulsive liar? Here are some telltale signs. 1. Inconsistencies in their stories. Details change frequently, making their tales unreliable. 2. Avoidance of eye contact. While not universal, many liars avoid direct gaze when fabricating. 3. Shifts in body language. Watch for gestures like touching their nose, rubbing their neck, or crossing their arms, which may signal discomfort. 4. Evasive answers. If someone consistently dodges questions, they might be hiding the truth. 5. Struggles with recounting backward. Asking someone to tell their story in reverse can expose fabrications, as liars often struggle with consistency. What can you do if you encounter someone like this? First, recognize the signs. Trust your intuition. If something feels off, it probably is. This isn't about turning into a detective, but about protecting your peace. Second, cultivate your own honesty. As Marcus Aurelius might advise, be the solid brick in the wall of truth. Your integrity not only strengthens your character, but can inspire others to be more truthful. Identifying a habitual liar isn't about judgment. It's about safeguarding your well-being. Think of it like carrying an umbrella on a rainy day. You can't stop the rain, but you can shield yourself from getting soaked. 6. Exaggerated reactions. Have you ever faced someone who erupts with anger or defensiveness at even the slightest criticism? This exaggerated response is a glaring red flag, the sixth warning sign of a problematic individual. Picture a pressure cooker on the verge of exploding. That's what it's like to deal with someone whose emotional reactions shake everyone around them. But why do some people react so disproportionately? The root often lies in deep insecurities and fragile self-esteem. To them, criticism feels less like feedback and more like a personal attack on their identity. The Stoics teach us that emotional maturity stems from self-awareness and the ability to accept what is beyond our control. People who lash out at criticism, however, remain trapped in cycles of denial and defense, unable to face their own imperfections. A study by the University of Michigan found that individuals with extreme reactions to criticism often experience lower emotional well-being and strained relationships. What can you do? First, set clear boundaries to protect your peace. Second, avoid being drawn into their emotional storms. As Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Healthy relationships thrive on open communication and constructive criticism. When faced with someone prone to exaggerated reactions, remember to prioritize your inner calm and resilience. 7. Protagonist Syndrome. Have you ever met someone who seems convinced that the world revolves around them? Welcome to the perplexing and often exasperating world of Protagonist Syndrome. Closely tied to narcissism, this phenomenon is more common than you might think. Imagine life as a grand play. Those with Protagonist Syndrome always cast themselves as the lead, relegating everyone else to supporting roles or mere extras. Sound amusing? Not so much if you're one of the extras in their script. Psychologically, narcissism isn't just self-love. It's an insatiable need to feel special. As Dr. C. Malin, a Harvard psychologist, puts it, it's like an addiction to admiration and attention. History is full of larger-than-life figures who embodied this mindset. Take Napoleon Bonaparte, who famously crowned himself emperor, literally refusing to let anyone else hold the spotlight. Or Louis XIV of France, who boldly declared, "I am the state." These men were not exactly plagued by self-doubt. So, how do you deal with someone consumed by Protagonist Syndrome? 1. Set boundaries. These individuals often invade personal space and dominate conversations. Don't hesitate to say no or assert your needs. 2. Avoid feeding their ego. A well-placed compliment is fine, but excessive flattery will only fuel their self-absorption. 3. Find common ground. Even narcissistic personalities can connect meaningfully when you identify shared interests. Here's a Stoic perspective. We all have a touch of the protagonist within us. Yes, even you. The next time you feel like the universe revolves around you, pause and remember Marcus Aurelius's words. You are a soul carrying a corpse. Humbling, isn't it? When dealing with someone who craves the spotlight, remind yourself that you control your role in the performance. Who knows? Being an extra might even have its perks, less pressure and fewer lines to memorize. The key is to stay grounded and let them shine, while you quietly steer your own course with wisdom and grace. 8. The art of taking advantage of others. Have you ever noticed someone only reaching out when they need something? This behavior reveals the art of taking advantage of others, a skill that opportunists master, but one we must learn to recognize and guard against. Imagine life as a game of chess. Opportunists are the players who sacrifice others, like pawns, to advance their own game. But don't worry. With awareness and wisdom, you can transform yourself into a queen, capable of seeing through their strategies. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "He who takes advantage of another's misfortune is not far from desiring it." Opportunists often have an uncanny ability to detect vulnerabilities and exploit them without hesitation. Sound familiar? Perhaps it's the friend who only calls when they need a favor, or the colleague who takes credit for your work. But not all opportunism is malicious. We're all capable of opportunistic behavior at times, especially when we're desperate or unaware. The key lies in intention and frequency. Asking for help occasionally is human, but using others as stepping stones is something else entirely. How can you protect yourself? 1. Value your time and energy. You're not obligated to save everyone. 2. Practice reciprocity. If someone only takes without giving, rethink the relationship. 3. Seek like-minded company. Surround yourself with those who value fairness and mutual respect. As the Stoics remind us, protecting our peace isn't selfish, it's necessary. Just like carrying an umbrella in the rain, guarding against opportunists keeps you dry while others weather the storm. 9. Constant lack of respect for boundaries. Have you ever felt like your personal boundaries are treated as casually as a red light by an impatient driver? This 9th warning sign, constant lack of respect for boundaries, is a hallmark of toxic behavior. Imagine your personal space as a peaceful garden. Now picture someone trampling through it, treating it like their playground without your permission. Frustrating, isn't it? That's exactly how it feels when someone persistently ignores your limits. As Carl Rogers, a renowned psychologist, once said, "The only path worth taking is the one that leads to being oneself." But how can we truly be ourselves if others refuse to respect the space we need to thrive? Malicious people often view boundaries not as lines to respect, but as obstacles to push past. Whether it's invading your privacy, ignoring your requests, or persisting in harmful behavior, these individuals act as though they've mastered the art of disregarding social cues. So, how can you protect your personal garden? 1. Be clear and direct. Ambiguity invites overstepping. Make your boundaries unmistakable. 2. Stay consistent. Giving in once is like inviting a vampire in. It becomes much harder to keep them out. 3. Prioritize self-care. You can't control others' actions, but you can control how you respond. As psychologist Henry Cloud reminds us, boundaries define who we are and who we are not. When someone tries to trample your garden, gently but firmly remind them that your flowers are not for stepping on. Protecting your space is an act of self-respect. 10. Constant criticism. Have you ever met someone who seems to have a talent for pointing out flaws in everything and everyone? This 10th warning sign, constant criticism, can be more damaging than we often realize. Imagine being surrounded by people who only focus on your faults, ignoring your strengths entirely. How would that make you feel? Likely drained and unappreciated. Psychologist John Gottman found that healthy relationships require a ratio of at least 5 positive interactions to every negative one. When criticism exceeds this balance, emotional well-being starts to crumble. it's important to distinguish between constructive criticism and toxic negativity. Constructive feedback is rooted in care and aims to help you grow. Constant criticism, on the other hand, is driven by the need to control or belittle. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca advises, choose someone whose way of living, words, and even their face, which is the mirror of the soul, you admire. In other words, surround yourself with people who uplift you rather than tear you down. Exposure to relentless negativity doesn't just harm your mood, it can even impact your physical health, as studies reveal. So, how can you protect yourself? 1. Set boundaries. A calm, "I appreciate your opinion, but I didn't ask for it," can work wonders. 2. Practice empathy. Often those who criticize the most are battling their own inner struggles. 3. Seek positivity. Surround yourself with people who inspire and support your growth. Remember, criticism reflects more about the critic than the one being judged. Protect your peace and prioritize relationships that nurture your spirit. 11th. Lack of responsibility. Have you ever met someone who always has an excuse for everything? Imagine playing the game of life, but every time they land on a bad square, they blame the board, the dice, or even the dog walking by. That's exactly how those who avoid responsibility behave, constantly slipping out of accountability like a magician disappearing in a puff of smoke. These individuals seem to have an endless supply of justifications, as if their minds run on an automatic excuse generator. But why is this behavior so harmful? Picture building a house with someone who never admits to nailing a board crooked. Over time, the house becomes unstable, and so does the relationship, leading to frustration and distrust. How can you spot someone who avoids responsibility? 1. They always have an excuse. Nothing is ever their fault. 2. They blame others. Mistakes are never owned, but redirected. 3. They play the victim. Every setback becomes a tale of woe. 4. They deflect accountability. Questions about their actions are met with subject changes. The Stoics teach us that true strength lies in owning our actions. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." If you notice these tendencies in yourself, take heart. Recognizing the problem is the first step to change. Responsibility is like a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it grows. The next time you feel tempted to blame traffic for being late, pause and ask yourself, what can I do differently next time? Owning your actions isn't just empowering, it's the foundation of a virtuous life. 12. The pursuit of revenge or punishment. Have you ever encountered someone who clings to grudges as if they were priceless treasures? This final warning sign, the constant pursuit of revenge or punishment, reveals individuals consumed by resentment. Imagine someone who, instead of letting go of an offense, treats it as a personal mission of retaliation fit for an action movie. These people struggle to handle criticism or rejection, often choosing revenge over reflection. But vengeance doesn't always appear dramatic. It can creep in through subtler forms like spreading rumors, sabotaging opportunities, or manipulating relationships. It's as if they carry a radar for offenses and an arsenal of negativity ready to deploy. What they fail to realize, as the Stoics often remind us, is that revenge harms the avenger most of all. Several studies have shown that vengeful people experience higher stress and lower emotional well-being. As Seneca aptly put it, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. Seeking revenge is like drinking poison and expecting it to harm someone else. The key to dealing with such individuals is to remain calm and refuse to feed their need for conflict. Their behavior reflects their inner turmoil, not your worth. As Marcus Aurelius advises, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Choose peace over retaliation. It's the ultimate act of strength. Now that you've uncovered these warning signs, the power is in your hands. Use this knowledge to protect your peace, strengthen your boundaries, and foster relationships rooted in trust and mutual respect. Remember, as the Stoics teach us, awareness is the first step toward living a virtuous and fulfilling life. If this message has resonated with you or shed light on something you've experienced, I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments. Not only does this help the algorithm reach others who might need this guidance, but it also creates a space for meaningful discussion. Your insights could inspire someone else on their journey. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell. By doing so, you'll join a growing community of seekers who are committed to personal growth and philosophical wisdom. And don't stop here. Take a moment to explore our other videos, where you'll find more tools to help you navigate life's challenges with clarity and strength. As you move forward, remember that every step you take towards self-awareness and resilience brings you closer to the life you deserve. Stay strong, stay mindful, and never stop seeking wisdom. I look forward to seeing you in the next video, where we'll continue exploring the path to a more fulfilling and stoic life. Until then, take care and keep striving for the best version of yourself.